Hey everyone, glad you're here. Today is April the 14th, and it's time for our Wednesday night devotional. I hope you're doing great this week. This week I'm in Columbus, Ohio. Today I'm wrapping up a gospel meeting all the way up here in Ohio, and I wanted to share with you some thoughts about this week's reading from the book of Ecclesiastes and to walk through some thoughts about this incredible book. I hope that you're having a great week. I hope school is going well. Hope things at home are going so well, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all very soon. Ecclesiastes is a challenging book. In fact, when you read it, it's kind of a negative book. The tone that Solomon takes with this book, I believe Solomon is the preacher. You ever heard the phrase YOLO? YOLO means you only live once. People who use that phrase YOLO, they usually use it. They tag the phrase, they shout the phrase when they're going to do something very dangerous or risky. You only live once. And so it's okay to jump out of an airplane. It's okay to take some risks. It's okay to do something that may be kind of life-threatening because, hey, you only live once. Sometimes that phrase is used to sort of justify some kind of reckless, sinful behavior. You got to have fun. You got to live it up. You got to party because you only live once. Well, Ecclesiastes, in a large sense, sort of explores that kind of a mindset of you only live once. That is, the preacher, Solomon, in my opinion, is exploring what happens if you take God out of the equation. What happens if there is no God under the sun? Here on earth, can someone really find meaning and purpose? Can they find true satisfaction in all the things that we have here on earth? No God, no eternity, just here on earth. It says in Ecclesiastes 1 and in verse 13, I set my mind to seek and explore by wisdom concerning all that has been done under heaven. It is a grievous task which God has given the sons of men to be afflicted with. And so let's just look at life under the sun. Can I find meaning and purpose and life here on earth? And so that's what he does. And so he looks at his job, and he had the best job, the highest job. He was the king over all of Israel. He had money, he had wealth, he had more money than any king before him. He had great. He worked hard with his hands, and so he built gardens and palaces, and he had people under him, slaves and workers and servants. He was married. He was married to a lot of different women. He did all these things. He didn't keep any pleasure from his hand. He had all sorts of fun, and the conclusion was this: in Ecclesiastes chapter 2. It says in verse 11, I considered all my activities which my hands had done, and the labor which I had exerted, and behold, all was vanity and striving after the wind, and there was no profit under the sun. You know what the word vanity means? It means empty. It's empty. This maybe a couple of weeks ago, if you had one of those chocolate bunnies and you bit into it and it was hollow, it was empty. There's nothing in it. I mean, we like the ones that are filled with cream or chocolate or peanut butter or something, but you bite it and it's empty. Solomon said, I tried to find real meaning, real satisfaction, real happiness in the things of the world, in my job, and my relationships and pleasure. And at the end of the day, it was empty. It was meaningless. Because money, if I make my life about money, I'm never going to have enough. I'm always going to want more. I'm never going to feel like I have enough to be happy or secure or safe. If I make it about relationships, although we have family and friends, people that we love and we trust, they can't love us perfectly. There are times that we let our family down, and times that sometimes friends and family let us down too. It's not going to be a perfect, satisfying relationship. If it's about pleasure, if it's about jobs, none of those things last beyond but a moment, but a small moment in time. Because ultimately, friends and money and wealth and jobs and accomplishment and pleasure, all those things go away. All those things end in death when our life comes to an end. And so Solomon says, if you're trying to find the real meaning of life here under the sun, just here on earth, you're not going to find it. It's empty. It's futile. Now here's the catch. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, the third chapter, he has that neat little section where he talks about there's a time for all things. And he says in verse 2 that there's a time to give birth and a time to die. And everything in life is that way. Do you know it? You start a book and you read a book, and the best book you've ever read. I'd be curious what yours is. What's your favorite book? Eventually, it comes to an end. The best movie you've ever watched, even those 2-hour, 3-hour long big finales, eventually it comes to an end. The best vacation you've ever been on, maybe 2 weeks to Disney with the fast passes and all the food and all the snacks. It began, but then it eventually comes to an end. The reality is, you know as well as I do, one day even us, our lives, our bodies are going to break down, and our time on earth is going to come to an end. And so he says there's a time to give birth and a time to die. But then in chapter 3, we're still in chapter 3 of Ecclesiastes, in verse 11, he says that he has set eternity in their heart. That is, God has made us with a longing for things that'll last. We want things to last. We want joy to last. We want happiness to last. We want satisfaction to last. So do you catch it? Everything around us comes to an end. But we want the good, wonderful blessings that we know exist. We want them to last forever. Because we want to last forever. Well, here's the heart. Okay? The real heart, the conclusion of Ecclesiastes. I want to walk it through with you. I think you all walked through it on Sunday. I want to re-walk through it with you here tonight. There are 3 things that we need to remember. There are 3 things that especially those of us who are younger need to remember. Number 1, one of the first things that we need to remember is our Creator. That's chapter 12 of Ecclesiastes, and verse 1 says, remember your Creator in the days of your youth. Ooh, isn't that a rich phrase? Remember your Creator in the days of your youth. First thing we got to remember is remember your Creator. We who are young, we who are full of life, full of excitement, remember your Creator. Now think about that for a minute. He doesn't say remember your God. He doesn't say remember your King or your Lord, your Creator. Ooh. What comes to mind when you hear the word Creator? You might think of power, the power of God, or that brilliant mind of God. But I think specifically what he's saying is remember the fact that God made you, you. God made you. And God is the one who has a right to tell you how it is you are to live your life. And so as you go about making your decisions, choosing your path, choosing your friends, making all the different choices that come about every day, you can have fun. You can be a young person and enjoy life. But remember, you were made on purpose for a purpose. And so have fun in your youth. Enjoy life under the sun. Keep away from all the drama of the world, of all the darkness of evil. Don't entertain those thoughts. Don't go down those paths. They will only bring ruin and destruction. Enjoy life. But remember, in your midst of having fun, in your midst of your life's dreams and your life's pursuits, remember the most important thing is you are here on purpose for a purpose. Your God made you. In all your pursuits, you are to honor and glorify the God who made you. That's the first thing we are to remember. The second thing we are to remember is that life is brief. Life is brief. In chapter 12, he says, down in verse 7, he says that dust will return to the earth as it was, and the spirit will return to God who gave it. It may seem like that's hard to believe. I mean, I think tonight I'm talking to some who may be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, maybe 16-year-old. It seems like you have forever to live. I mean, we're so young. In fact, 20 seems kind of far away. 30 seems even further away. 50, 70, 90, that seems like a lifetime away. And in many ways it is. And so to think that life is short, well, it seems like it's so long compared to where you are today. But here's the reality. You won't understand it today. You won't. But I'm going to tell you it's a truth. And one day your eyes will open and you'll realize just how true it is. Life goes by fast. So fast. James calls it just a vapor, a wind, a breath. It's gone. You talk to any of some older people that you know, maybe your grandparents, maybe someone older at the church, maybe one of the shepherds, and you'll ask them about this truth, about how fast does time fly? How short does life seem? And it just goes by so fast. We only have one life. We only have the time that we're given. Now we know we're not guaranteed to live to an old age of 80 or 90 years, but even if we are, it goes by so very swiftly. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your life. Don't waste your life on things that don't matter. Don't waste your time trying to win every argument. Don't waste your life in all the drama and the mess of jealousies and envies and cliques and fightings. Don't waste your youth on those things that don't matter. You're going to blink and life is going to go by. And there's some things in life that are just far more important than others. Because the third thing to remember, okay, number one, remember your Creator. In the days of your youth, you were made on purpose for a purpose. Honor your Creator. Number two, remember that life is going to go by very fast. It's gonna be gone before you know it. And then number three is that there's more to come. There's more to come after death. And so the last few verses, it says in Ecclesiastes 12, beginning in verse 13, the conclusion, when all has been heard, is fear God and keep his commandments, because this applies to every person. He says, for God will bring every act to judgment, everything which is hidden, whether it is good or evil. Oh, that idea of YOLO, you only live once. No, that's not true. That's not what the Bible teaches. Our life doesn't end in death. We go on to eternity. We go on to meet God. We go on to where we will be forever, no end. But you need to hear this. There's something really serious about what Solomon is saying here. In Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verses 13 and 14, you can read them again. You can think about them again. I want to share it with you. No matter who you are, no matter your story, no matter your background, every single one of us will stand before God face to face one day. Yep, even you. You will stand before God one day face to face, and every one of us are going to have to answer for the life we've lived. He says here that we're going to have to answer for the things we've done, whether good or evil. Paul says the same thing if you want to look it up in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and in verse 10. That we're all going to have to stand before the judgment seat of God. Now think about that. You can't escape it. There's not going to be a pass on this. You will meet God face to face one day. And God will talk to you. And God will look at you. And God will consider all that you have done in this life. It's a serious thought, isn't it? Does that mean we can't have fun? No, of course not. When you go to the end of chapter 11, Solomon makes the point that you are to enjoy your youth. And that's in chapter 11 and verse 9. Rejoice, young man, during your childhood, and let your heart be pleasant during the days of your young manhood. He says, follow the impulses of your heart and the desire of your eyes, yet know that God will bring you to judgment for all these things. He says, have fun. Have fun with your friend. Do some exciting things. Go and enjoy all the activities and opportunities and things that you can do with your friends and your energy. Enjoy it. Enjoy the season of your life. But don't get so caught up in having fun and pleasure in your life's pursuits that you forget that you're here by God's will. That you are here because God created you, and that whatever you do, you're going to have to answer for it. So make your choices wisely. Do things that you know will please your God, will honor your God. You know what this shows us? Just one simple wrap up to Ecclesiastes is that There's more to come. There's more to come than what we see today. There's more to come than what is on earth today. And so, if I have to make a choice today, and I have to make some decisions, some choices about different options, different paths I can take, I need to choose to make some choices that will matter not just for today, but they'll matter for eternity. I need to make some eternal investments today. That is, I don't just need to live for today, the YOLO spirit, that I just do what I want to do for today and enjoy today and don't give any time or any thought for heaven, any time or any thought for eternity. I need to make some choices today that will matter in eternity. Think about that in a small scale, right? If you take time today to learn about God and to know His Word and to study the Bible, even at a young age, when you get to your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, imagine what you'll know. And imagine how you can use that knowledge not just in your own walk with God and your own desire to please Him, but imagine how you can use that knowledge to help others and their walk with God too. But that starts all the way back here when you're young. Think about that physically. If you take care of your body when you're young, right? When you're young, and you exercise and you eat right and you build good habits and you follow that habit along, when you get older, you'll be able to do more. You'll feel better because you built that habit all along. So, what are some things you can do today? What are some choices you can make today that will matter not just for today, but they'll matter for eternity? What are some eternal investments? Some things that we might say are never a waste of time. Well, reading your Bible is never a waste of time. Time in the Word of God, reading, studying, learning, growing, that's never a waste of time. Time in prayer is never a waste of time. Time talking to God and drawing near to God. Time helping others. That second greatest law is to love your neighbor as yourself. And that means your friend at school. That means your next door neighbor. That means your friends at your sports team or your band or your choir. Loving your neighbor and offering your kind words, offering your acts of service, offering your time, helping and showing the love of Jesus to all those around us. That's never a waste of time. Time spent growing in relationships with God's people, with your family in Christ is never a waste of time. Time with your blood family, with your family here on earth, with your mom and your dad and your siblings, that's never a waste of time to build those precious relationships. There's so much good that you can do today. Thinking about God, living for God, serving God, growing in your knowledge about God, all of that will matter not just for today, but it'll matter in the long run. Remember, remember so much, my young friends, as that you were here on purpose. God made you, and He made you special, and He gave you all the talents and abilities and opportunities that you have. And so enjoy your youth, enjoy the season of your life, but remember that God made you, and that you need to honor Him. You need to respect Him. You need to seek a life that pleases Him, and remember that this is the only life you got. This is the only chance you have for your time here on earth, and so don't waste it. Don't waste it on things that don't matter. Because remember, there's more. There's more to come. And wherever we will be after eternity, that's for those, it's really determined by those who put their life in Jesus. We're not going to get to heaven because we've lived life perfect. That's not what heaven's about. No one will get to heaven because they've lived a perfect life, because no one has lived a perfect life. The ones who will be in heaven will be there because of Jesus. They are in Jesus. Jesus, washed by the blood of the Lamb. Are you in Jesus? Are you following Jesus? Are you giving your life to Jesus? It's a wonderful thought that there's so much good yet to come. So live today and enjoy today, realizing that as good as today may seem and as wonderful as this life is, something even better is soon to come. Thank you so much for studying with me. These are just a few thoughts I had on Ecclesiastes. It was a great read, and I hope you had a good week studying that and talking about it with your family. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you, Lord willing, on Sunday. Thanks, everybody. Take care.